So the start's relatively simple this time because we finished last time at the end of a fight and a little bit of a chat. So the new characters have joined in. Brungrik, Damian, and Valkyn met up with Reman and Barwolf. So you finished a fight with the scarecrows and the witch type characters, and you had a little bit of a conflab, and the plan was to carry on. It's sort of midday-ish. I can't see my map. Where's my map? There it is.
Yeah, you said it was midday.
That's right. Yeah, because you needed to know for obvious reasons. And you were going to continue on foot to Vallaki, and you estimated that if you just carried on walking now, you'd make it to the town just before nightfall. So, if that's still the plan, off you go. Is there any other business? Anything that's occurred to anyone? Anyone wanted to ask any characters any questions on the road?
Mine was trying to get some more information about Rillik, wasn't he? Because obviously they're from both part of the Raven Queen, aren't they? And he wants to try and find out where he is because he's gone quiet to the Raven Queen.
Yeah, you'd asked the question, and someone I can't remember what the response was.
Didn't Damian tell him how he died and stuff?
Was it not Brungrik?
No, Rillik, because Brungrik wasn't there, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we've cleared that up, then no.
Yeah. So is no one going to be forthcoming about information or further information about Rillik then?
Feeling that Jake did a summarization of what happened to Rillik at the end of the last session.
I did one at the start of the session to Ez, didn't I? I told Ez about what had happened in Barovia while we'd been here and how we'd come across the hags. But I'm sure it was actually Valkyn that was mentioning something about Rillik to.
That's right. Yeah, because yeah, that's right. Because I
was a bit miffed off that he'd chopped off or he shot the Barovian witch in the head, and I was a bit like, well, I was going to question her.
Yeah, that's right. And you mentioned it to Valkyn because you said that he was not his style of fighting wasn't what you'd expect from a true warrior type thing.
Yeah, not honourable.
So no forthcoming information. You've not found. Barwolf hasn't found much else about Rillik. You are aware now that Valkyn and Damian were companions of Rillik, but that's pretty much it. So we'll just move forwards to Vallaki then, if no one's got any other business.
Okay.
So you arrive at the west gate of Vallaki just before nightfall. They're just starting to light the torches on the wall. You've been to Vallaki before, obviously, and you're aware of the fact that you weren't allowed in during nightfall. You've arrived before nightfall, but as it happens, the guards actually are quite happy to see you. And they wave you forwards as vampire slayers and heroes of Vallaki anyway. That word seems
even with my posse.
That's a good question. What are you going to do with your posse, Mr. Miller?
Well, that's what that's what I was suggesting.
I'm up at the gates.
We're setting off, and we're here. Oh, right, okay. Well, I was planning on. So we're at the west gate, aren't we?
Yeah.
Is there a lake or
Lake Zarovich is to the north of Vallaki, so you could easily send them through the woods.
I'm tempted. I've been toying with the idea. Can I get them to sort of bury themselves in the wood nearby?
Sure. They could hide in the wood, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. Try and lie down and cover themselves up in the undergrowth and what have you.
Yeah, no problem. Wouldn't take you long at all. It is thick forest. Apart from, sorry, dude, go on.
Yeah, I was also thinking on the way there. I was gonna cast a ritual on the way for a familiar raven, so that I can use it as a bit of reconnaissance ahead of us and what have you.
Yeah, sure. You can have a raven familiar if you want. Yeah, that's no problem. So I believe you need to choose Fiend, Fey, or Celestial.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was just gonna select a raven.
Yeah. Okay.
As a friend of mine to bit of eyes on.
Cool. Yeah. So you the zombies wander off. You know their location. You can find them not too far off the road. But yeah, as soon as they're into the forest, it's pretty overgrown. You're pretty sure that.
Yeah. And what time is this? Well, we're here. As we've arrived.
Not just before nightfall, so we'll call it sort of 5 p.m.
Okay. But once we go in, I can't come back out, can I? And
well, at the time while you're outside, you wouldn't be. Yes, you that would be the impression. You've been in Barovia long enough. You've been into Vallaki, we'll say. And you're aware of the sort of rule for you can't come and go as you please after hours.
Yeah, so obviously before I bid my minions good night, I'd obviously recast my what was it? Was it Animate Dead?
Animate Dead, yeah. So you'd need 2. So you got 4 zombies, haven't you? So you'd need 2 second level, 2 third level slots for you, wouldn't you?
No, it's just 1.
What? Does 1 spell reset?
One spell does 4 creatures.
Wow. Okay. So yeah. So your new timescale is 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Yeah. So happy to arrive at the gates.
Yeah.
Yep. So the guards, they're happy to see you and herald you as vampire slayers and saviors of Vallaki. Well, they do with Damian and Valkyn. The others, they seem happy that they're in Damian and Valkyn's company, so they're quite happy to wave you through. Anyway, sort of lots of backslapping and glad you're back. You're just in time for the festival. The festival is happening in 2 days' time. They'll say to you, the Festival of the Blazing Sun. In terms of things, changes that you've noticed in Vallaki, not a great deal. Everyone's still downcast, and occasionally, as they walk past, you get the usual greeting of the Baron's catchphrase of "all will be well," and everyone's sort of keeping themselves to themselves. The guards seem pretty pleased with you, but you notice here and there sort of effigies ready to be lit, sort of small bonfires and pyres with signs all over the town saying that the Festival of the Blazing Sun is in 2 days' time. If you remember that the Baron tries to keep away, he's got this scheme where he thinks if he keeps people happy, it will keep the devil away, and he holds these weekly festivals which he forces people to attend. One of the first buildings that you're going to come across as you're walking into town, in fact, where are you heading towards? What's the plan now that you're in Vallaki?
We've got 2 things to do, haven't we? We need to find Van Richten or Rictavio to anybody else that doesn't know. And then we also potentially need to touch bases with Irina and Ismark as well, just to make sure that everything's okay.
Okay, so the first building that you'll come to of interest from the gate is the Church of St Andrel, which is where you left Irina and Ismark. So it is starting to get dark now. The lanterns are being lit. And as you approach the church, you're walking down the sort of main street. You can see the church in the distance, lights starting to come on, be lit, and you can actually see Irina in the grounds of the church walking around. And she's walking around with someone that you have met before. She's walking around with Vasily von Holtz. Vasily was the chap that you met just on the outskirts of Vallaki when you first arrived here, and you had that little fight with the zombies with him. And they're sort of walking quite close to each other, their heads sort of leaning towards each other, and they seem to be just walking around the grounds, having a bit of a natter. The rest of the street seems relatively clear. What do you want to do?
Damian's going to turn to Valkyn and say, "Don't be jealous." With a little quaint like smile on his face. And then he's like going to pat Valkyn on the shoulder, almost like kind of a big kind of pat, and then let's go see them.
As he pats me on the shoulder, I fucking hit the deck because I'm on 1 HP. That's finished me off. That's it.
Brings new meanings kicking a man when he's down.
So as you get closer, walking along the street, Irina will notice you, or they'll notice you as a couple. And Irina, her face lights up. She starts beaming as she turns towards Vasily and says something, and then she heads over to you, runs towards you as Vasily is walking behind, and as she approaches, she'll say, "Oh, Damian, Valkyn," and then she sort of stops a little bit. So, "Oh, well, it's wonderful to see you, but where's everyone else?"
I think to start off with, Damian would like bow in kind of respect. He'd make it almost a bit showy, so he'd put like one arm in front of him and one arm out, and kind of do a little bit of a thing of it. But it's unfortunately, my lady, it is just us two now. We have collected some other acquaintances along the way, but unfortunately, Alanonl, Niloren, and Rillik are no longer. They've been overcome by the powers of Barovia.
She'll put a hand on your shoulder at this point, and she looks genuinely shocked and concerned. She says, "That's terrible. That's terrible. I mean, I can't say that it's not happened before, but when it happens to your own, it's still not nice. Still, life must go on, as we say in Barovia. But I have news. I believe you know Lord Vasily. By which time Vasily's caught up with you, and he'll sort of give you a nod in recognition to say, "Greetings, gentlemen. Yeah, you do seem to have collected a new, may I say, strange collection of friends," and he'll reach towards Damian and Valkyn to shake hands. And he'll say, introduce me to your new friends."
I guess the easiest person to introduce you to first is Brungrik, our dwarven comrade. He was one of the chief clerics for the Church of Pelor, and was involved in the training of our good friend Niloren. Has also almost been a father figure to Niloren. So at the moment, he's heavily seeking vengeance about those who brought about his demise.
He'll nod towards Brungrik.
And Brungrik will probably say something like to him, he'll be like, "Who you calling strange? My lady." And he suddenly like goes from being the jovial bloke to very, very posh. "My lady."
Nice. You're a little bit quiet, Sam. Have you got your mic?
Yeah, hang on, let me try turning it up.
Sorry.
A lot better.
Yeah, that's better.
Too loud, Sam. Turn it down.
And he'll say, and this gentleman, he'll point towards Barwolf.
I'm going to look at Valkyn and almost expect Valkyn to introduce him. I was like, you spoke to him more than I have.
Valkyn, I suppose, in his typical yeah, typical way, or just like this one we picked up on the way.
So he'll walk. Vasily will walk towards Barwolf, and he'll offer his hand out and say, "Vasily von Holtz, at your service."
I think he'll just look at his hand for now and shake it, but not say a word, and just nod.
Sure. And that leaves us our mysterious-looking hooded friend, and he'll wait for an introduction again.
So I think Damian would turn around and say, and finally, this is Reman.
Before Damian said anything, I think Reman would just step forward and go, "The name's Reman, my lady," and just leave it like that.
Well, it was Vasily talking to you. I'm assuming that you're going to say my lord, not my lady.
Oh, no, my lord. Yeah, sorry. I got distracted by my dinner. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Dinner's important.
Brungrik will give
That would have been brilliant.
Brungrik will give him a little elbow nudge and go, "He's the weird one."
So Irina does. She starts up again. This is the most wonderful thing. Is my world has been brightened since Lord Vasily came into my life. He's wonderful. He's kept me company. He's kept me sane all these days since I've been here. Ismark has gone back to the village. The village needed running. He is the new burgomaster. But all is well here. Father Lucian inside. He's inside. If you want to go and talk to him, Vasily and I we're going to have a walk around the grounds.
Irina, I believe that may be the bearer of bad news. Have you heard anything from the Count?
No, I'm not. What, you mean the devil? No, nothing at all.
Is there somewhere that we can have this discussion in privacy? I'm concerned about prying ears, prying eyes, and.
Sure. Okay. Let's have first roll of the night then. Let's have a persuasion check from Damian.
It's a 7.
Okay. 7. She'll say, "Oh, anything you have to say to me, you can say in front of Vasily."
It's not Vasily I'm concerned about. It's everybody else.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, we can walk and talk. You could join us on a walk.
If I must, if that's how we can inform you of what's been going on, then I'm more than happy to do that.
Okay. She says, "Come join us. We'll tell you of everything that's happened." And she sort of joins, and you can tell again she's straight away going to Vasily as if she's quite enamoured with him and him her. But yeah, they go for a stroll, and basically they're doing a route around the grounds. You very much get the impression that she doesn't want to leave the grounds, and he's quite happy to stroll around with her.
Is that like so she's staying on hallowed ground? So she's staying in?
No, hallowed ground would be inside. She's walking round the outskirts of the church itself.
Oh right, yeah, but she wouldn't. She's not leaving the church. It's not like she's going for a massive walk around Vallaki. No, it's just
the church grounds. Yeah.
Okay.
And she's not been charmed or anything like that.
Say again, sorry, Lewis.
She's not been charmed or anything like that because it's a completely different change of character, isn't
it? You're a bit quiet as well, dude. You can have an insight check if you like.
I'm glad you said it, Luke, because I was wondering the same.
Nat 20, so 23.
Natural 20. Now, Barwolf hasn't met Irina before.
Would he pick up on like anything abnormal? Because he's been in Barovia for a while, hasn't he? So.
Yeah. Yeah. This is where it gets a little bit difficult in terms of the narrative, because you haven't met Irina before, but you've asked the particular question. What? And I don't know much about blood hunters. Is there? Right. Here's what I'm going to tell you. you get very much with a natural 20, certainly a 23, you get the suspicion that she isn't acting characteristically. But can we add something in that a blood hunter would possibly know about?
Yeah, so he knows about all sorts of the monsters that are in Barovia. He knows about charms. It was his job to hunt like lichens and vampires and things like that. So he's picked up a skill or two in detecting like charms from different creatures and things.
Gotcha. So you
about it.
Sure. So you would notice almost like a tick, maybe, or a pause, or something about this character. This appears to be a lovely young woman. You've heard so far that she is the sister of the burgomaster. She is in the company of a lord, and she's well spoken and introduced herself to you guys, well dressed, clean, and all the rest of it. But there's just something off, almost as if she's not herself.
Okay. Could he have picked something off, like from the handshake or something from Vasily, and it went because obviously he shook his hand, didn't he, and just nodded? Or is that a completely different thing?
Well, that was an insight check for Irina.
Yeah. Okay.
So give me. I'll tell you what. Then give me a perception check.
Watch me get a 1 now. Oh, 21.
Okay, 21's reasonably good. Let me have a roll.
I'm going to die again, aren't I, Dave?
Hold on, sorry. For some reason, my Beyond 20's been turned off. There we go. Right, what'd you roll? 21?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Here's what you notice. You notice as you shake Vasily's hand, and we have to remember that this is just Barwolf picking this up. As you shook Vasily's hand, you got a tingle down your spine. Something didn't fit right with this character, and now that you've put 2 and 2 together, and you were watching Irina and Vasily, you see him ever so slightly with his hand next to him. He sort of flicks his finger, almost in response to every time she's asked a question, as if he's pulling strings. And that's the momentary lapse that you've seen. You would be pretty sure, unless it's just some kind of strange coincidence, that Vasily is actually has possibly charmed this young woman in front of you. As Damian, who is unaware of this, walks off with Irina, going around the grounds with Vasily as well.
Okay. So Damian's gone off, but Valkyn's still knocking around near us, is he?
Well, what's everyone else doing? Or what would everyone else be doing before they found out this?
Well, I don't think.
Would it be safe to say that Valkyn sort of picked up on the demeanour as well?
No.
No, okay. Yeah, I guess I've got no choice but to probably. In fact, no, I'll stick with Damian.
Yeah, that kind of fits.
Familiar with him at this point. Yeah, I'm most familiar with him at the point. I'm not really going to stick back with the other guys. So I'm not.
Sure, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Miller, then.
Well, Reman doesn't know this woman.
No.
So he's sort of of the opinion, letting friends catch up, do what they've got some business. So I'm just sort of in the rear, just perusing the just staying back.
Sure. What's Brungrik doing?
He would probably be floating around behind them. He's overheard Damian say about worried about prying ear, so he's probably he's within earshot of them, quite close by to them as a group, but just a little bit back, almost watching for people, and that military sort of mindset kicking him.
Smashing. So what we'll do at this point then is we'll it's Irina that's mostly talking to Damian. Damian, you're about to launch into what you need to tell her, and they are from the party. If you're all together, you're all huddled round. Damian, Irina, and Vasily start moving off with pretty much everyone else, with the exception of Reman, then to tell them what's happening. What would Barwolf do?
While this is happening, though, Dave, my Raven sort of circling around. He's close by because through my familiar, I can always go into like a dumb state. So I'm just sort of look like I'm sat on a bench or something, but I can use the Raven's eyes and ears to listen in on what's going on.
Sure.
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know a lot about charms. But obviously I don't want to go. And do you know what I mean? I just sort of don't want to go off on my own accord at the minute, because it's just a bit of a tingle that I've had, and a bit of a. Although his intuition's good, you just don't want to go firing off stuff, do you, in the middle of a church when you've just met somebody? He's got a bit more common sense about it in this chap. I think Barwolf will probably be keeping a very close eye on this chap. A very close eye, following behind, not getting too close, and at the earliest possible convenience, probably trying to sway them inside the church.
Okay. Well, so Damian, go ahead then, mate. So what have you got to say to Irina as you're walking around?
Firstly, he's going to be like, I'm glad to see you well, Irina. We have been worried about you while we've been travelling. Since our travels from Barovia all the way over here, it was a tough journey, and I'm glad we managed to get you here safely. Secondly, I fear that, and it's kind of coming tough for Damian to say, because it's kind of reliving the memory of what happened at the top of the hill, and coming across Strahd for the first time, and it's almost like, he understands now the fear of why people call him the devil, and understand this kind of level of just sheer kind of worry about him, and he has this all-seeing, all-present like essence in Barovia, so he's still kind of really being quite conscious and looking over his shoulder.
Okay.
And he's going to turn to Irina and say, has the devil come to visit at all?
She'll say no. It's just been me and Father Lucian for the most part. I met Vasily 2 days ago, and he's been an absolute dream. It's just the three of us, pretty much.
I fear he's still looking for you.
And you see the same response, and she's sort of looking around now. I feel as if I've, as a dungeon master, I've given Damian a physical tick, which I'm quite happy about. And she'll say, and she'll turn to Vasily and she'll say, I fear I've not told you a little bit about my past. And she sort of grabs his hand and holds his hand and say, I need to tell you. I should have told you before we became friends that the devil wanted. For some reason, he cast his gaze on me, and I was the object of his desire for quite some time in the village of Barovia. These brave chaps, these two brave chaps, and their other sadly departed friends helped me escape and found me sanctuary here. It sounds as if he had become aware of me again. And then she'll turn back towards Damian and look towards Valkyn, specifically you two, and say, "What do you think I should do?"
In my opinion, I feel like we should continue the rest of the conversation inside the church, and we should potentially look at some alternatives just to ensure your safety. I can tell you about our exact experience, but I just feel in the middle of this garden is not the place to do it.
She'll say, "Yeah, no, I can see you're quite right." At this point, Vasily's sort of stood with his hands in Irina's, and he'll say, "Oh, come, my dear, surely you're safe in the grounds, in the holy grounds. We have such lovely walks. I'll keep you safe. Don't worry." And you see straight away, it's almost as if all of the doubts and the fears that you've quite rightly generated in her, they just melt away, just instantly melt away. And she says, "Oh, you are good to me, Vasily. Yeah, no, let's continue our walk." And it's almost as if she's forgotten you're there.
Brungrik would probably mention hearing Damian try and urge her into the church. He would say, "He's right, my lady. I'd feel much more comfortable with fine stone walls and holy protection between us than what may be listening out here."
How far away are we from the church door?
From the church door itself, with a brief conversation, I would say 20 feet. So if you think of, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the map of the church, so I can tell you how I've envisaged it so far. So here's the church. You guys, there's the entrance. You've walked up. You've met Irina and Vasily here, and you've started walking up. So you're sort of round here. Main entrance is there. If you've got that.
Just another thing is, obviously, Barwolf noticed things much sooner than anybody else, but with that kind of instant calming that has just happened, would that have kind of tweaked anything for Damian at all?
Yeah, even without a roll, it just seems uncharacteristic. We'll have an insight check then. I tell you what, at this point, let's have a group insight check with the remaining 4 members.
Okay, let me find it.
Yeah.
Skills, isn't it? Yeah. $14.
Right, so we've got Brungrik, just Damian that.
Sorry, I'm just trying to. There's an extra. I don't know whether I can add my extra D8 to it because of with it being the Monster Hunter. I might not need to anyway. I got 19.
Okay. Yeah, that's. Yeah, no, I'm quite happy to tell you that all of you now get the impression that she is being led by this. If you remember Irina's character, I mean, Damian and Valkyn would remember her as being quite feisty. Vulnerable, but quite feisty. And all of a sudden, she seems besotted with Vasily.
I think
She was also very fearful if she thought she was in danger from Strahd as well, wasn't she? I mean, I know Brungrik doesn't know that, but I'm just adding that to the sort of thing. Whenever they were worried about Strahd getting her, she became very worried as well. And the fact that we've mentioned she could be in danger outside, for her to suddenly go, "Oh, I'm sure it'll be okay," is completely weird, isn't it?
I think Ramon's picked up this as well. I was wondering. I've obviously picked up on my fellow compadres.
Yeah.
That they want to get into the church for some reason, and something's not quite right, and they seem off about the whole situation. I think. Would I be able to have a look at casting detect magic, see if there's anything going on?
Yeah, sure. You can cast it with a
as a ritual. It's going to take me 10 minutes of mumbling.
As a ritual, 10 minutes of mumbling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can cast it with a first level slot, or a high level slot if you wanted to.
Oh right, I can do that, can I?
Yeah. Oh, have you got it prepared?
No, it's only as a ritual.
No, so it'd have to be a ritual cast. So it'd take you 10 minutes.
Okay.
But from around as Lewis had to go. He's had to go and get beer. That's what he's had to do. So
as whilst I'm doing that, could I use a cantrip to make some sort of distraction with using my prestidigitation? Maybe make it look, the trees rustling nearby and that, making it look like a storm, in order to give everyone else a hint, as we can use that as look, the weather might be changing, let's go inside, or something like that.
I suppose you could try, but as the situation remains, Irina seems she's sort of only got eyes for Vasily as they seem to continue to walk around the building. So it'd have to be something. Just making them rustle wouldn't. I don't think that'd do it, Miller. To be honest with you.
No, I mean to him.
You let's put you all on then. So we got there's Valkyn, Brungrik.
The other thing is, with us having met Vasily before, how does Vasily seem different?
And sorry, 1 second. Who am I missing? Damian. No, I'll give you this for free. He No, you don't know him that well. When you did meet him, he was very open with you, and he still seems the same open chap. Quite casual, relaxed. He's flying casual. So what we'll say is, at this point, I'm going to arrange you ever so slightly, and you can tell me if you want to go somewhere different. But Damian was talking to Irina. Brungrik was following on with Valkyn. Barwolf and Reman were sort of hanging back but following along a little bit. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So front doors here. They're right in front of you, the pair of them.
And he's just said, let's keep walking in the gardens.
Yes. And she's agreed.
So Brungrik is going to step between them and say, listen here, laddie, I said we'd be better off inside the church where it's safer.
Nice.
Because you don't ignore a dwarf.
Roll intimidation.
Roll intimidation.
I was just about to do that myself. So.
Oh,
that's not bad for a plus one.
It's not bad for a plus one. Okay. So, Vasily, they're still hand in hand, looking at each other. As he was about to turn away from you and carry on his walk, and he turns back, looks over his shoulder, raises an eyebrow at you, and say, "It's very forward of you, Master Dwarf. The lady and I are walking. I would ask you to not interfere."
Aye, and I'll take my axe to those strings that you're pulling.
This entertains him, and you can see he starts to smile, and he'll say, "Okay, my dear." Turns to Irene and he'll say, "I think it's time that we parted company for this evening. These gentlemen seem to have business with you inside the church. I shall return tomorrow to see you again." And he nods towards Damian, and Valkyn. He's not paying much attention to Barwolf or Reman, and he's certainly going to cast his gaze right over Brungrik. So to Damian and Valkyn, he'll sort of bow his head and say, "Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to see you. I trust that you'll be more selective of the company that you keep in future. I do not wish to upset the lady. I bid you farewell." And he starts to... he's going to shoulder past Brungrik. I say shoulder past because you're a little bit shorter than him, but he's just going to...
All right, Dave, with the short jokes.
But he's going to... He's not... You're in his way. Not totally in his way, so he is going to try and plow over you, but he's not making a... he's not trying to get around you gently, and he's going to try and nudge you out of the way.
Well, he's not going to give.
Okay. Rollies.
He's gonna stand firm like a stone wall.
Sure. Let's just have a quick roll off then. So yours would be stand firm. So yours would be sort of a strength roll. Just give me a strength check then.
A check.
Yeah, strength check. I'll tell you, I've only rolled a 12. Yeah. So you come off slightly better. So he sort of bounces off you a little bit. Oh, fucking dwarf. And you hear him chunter under his voice as he continues and walks off. Or looking to walk off. What do you want to do?
Can Barwolf be a bit of a bellend now? Now he's obviously clacked on that something's cracking off and something's amiss. As he's walking towards him, he's going to unsheath his sword, but do it so he can't see that he's going to attack him or anything like that.
Okay.
But accidentally nicks a piece of his clothing as he's walking by, and do you know what I mean when they go like that and say, "I'm so sorry, we don't mean any rude intentions."
Right.
But it's almost planned, so he can nip him slightly with tear a bit of his clothing, or the sword catches him in some way.
Okay, so that's rollies again. That's sleight of hand versus perception.
Okay. So do you want me to roll sleight of hand?
Yes, please. I'm going to give you my roll is 25.
Shit. 11.
So he sees what you're about to do.
Yeah.
Sword's a bit obvious, dude. So you'd take your dagger out or something, or try and cut his cloak. You just are after a bit of cloth from him.
No, it was more just to draw the sword, and do you like how they do in Japan, where they go like that and they say, "I'm sorry," so they can see that it's out in front of them to say, "We don't mean you any ill harm." But at the same time, he was trying to do it so as he did it, he accidentally caught a bit of his clothing, so he ripped it slightly.
Okay, I know nothing about Japan, but I can. Right, you can educate me as we go forward. So your sword's out, and it's in a gesture of placation, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, but you fumbled your roll, so he's clocked to what you do. So there's a couple of outcomes I can think of here. As you sort of attempt to do what you're going to do, I think what Vasily at this point will do is just he'll almost sort of unseat you. So as you're sort of stumbling forwards, he'll sort of turn and just spin you around 180 degrees. So you're pointing in the wrong direction. He rolled a 25, you rolled an 11. So I'm going to give him. You've properly fumbled that, and you didn't manage to do what you wanted to do. No. And again, he starts chuntering, and he says, "Fucking idiot." Anything else?
Just as he's leaving, walk up behind Vasily and pat him on the back and say, "Sorry about my acquaintance. He's new. He does not do the not familiar with our ways, our manners. And he's doing this. And have a little route. He's got one arm around him, just with the other one sneaking across. He's just going to have a little fondle in his pocket, see if there's anything of note that he can find."
Rollies. It's your sleight of hand versus my perception. I'm going to tell you exactly what I roll. I roll a 19.
Roll a 30.
Natural 20. Okay. I mean, he's a noble. He's going to have a decent purse on him. So you've spotted a money belt. You've just rolled a natural 20 for a 30 sleight of hand against Vasily von Holtz. So what are you aiming for? He's got a money pouch or another pouch. The money pouch is sort of a dangling weight, but the money pouch is more of a sort of a smallish a pouch with a little clasp over the top. What are you heading for?
I'm going to go for one.
Yep.
Against my sort of judgment, I'll be going for the non-purse pouch.
The non-purse pouch. Okay. It's without hesitation. No one, not even your oppos, know what you've done. You reach inside and you feel a ring. And it's with
what kind of pouch are we talking about?
with as deft as you are, especially with a 30, it's a signet ring of some description in his pouch. Yeah, taking it, I'm assuming.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I need it.
Okay, so Vasily is still chuntering. He looks as Valkyn offers his condolences. Let's see if he accepts your sort of your gestures of placation. Roll persuasion for Valkyn.
Flat. Not too bad.
19. Yeah, he'll say. He'll sort of turn to you as you lift this signet ring. He'll say, "Yeah, thanks, Valkyn. Yeah, well, hopefully we'll meet under better circumstances in better company next time." And then he will continue to walk off. Okay, happy? So off he goes. Irina looks crestfallen, and she'll say, "See you tomorrow. I shall look forward to it." And it looks just on the tip of her tongue as if she's about to say "my love," but she stops herself. She, remembers her decorum, and she sort of straightens herself down. Do you want to look at the ring?
Yes, yeah, I do.
Okay, Vasily has wandered off, and it is the seal of Strahd von Zarevich on this ring.
Do it.
Good.
Do it.
Kind of the note of her looking a bit upset and distressed. Damian's just going to move kind of a little bit forward from the position he stood in. He's going to place his hand on his shoulder, but not do it in kind of an offensive manner. It's just going to be kind of like a gentle. And he says, "I'm sorry for this, Irina, but can we go inside, please?"
Of course, she'll say, yes. Please come in. Father Lucian will be made up. I don't think made up is a very fancy term, but yes, he'll be delighted to see you again. And she's quite happy to walk in. You would, as you walk through the threshold. Let me think about your classes. So probably just Brungrik would get the sort of heebie-jeebies that this is hallowed ground that you're stepping on. This is a church. This is a church of the Morning Lord. You would notice the symbols as you walk through, similar to Pelor. Not quite the same, but there's sort of a few bits and pieces that make you think that this is a good church. This is a good church to be in. And you're met by Father Lucian, who's at the door, and he says he mentions his greetings to you all. What's the plan now, then?
And we would
mate.
Go on, no, you first, Johnson.
I was just about to say, just as we're walking through the across the threshold, Valkyn is going to turn with the ring in hand and just kind of tap Damian on the chest with it, sort of hanging back a little bit from the rest of him. Tap it and just kind of look at him and say, "This was Vasilis," and hand it to Damian as if to say, "Look at this."
Is my 10 minutes up yet for my ritual?
Not quite. It's only a short chat. This we're having.
Yeah.
We're only sort of a minute into it, really.
Have you tapping it? Have you passed it? Like, you know, as you've kind of like pushed it into my chest. Like, would Damian be able to take hold of it and have a look at it?
Yeah.
And like
passing it to you. Yeah.
We'd recognise the insignia as well from the letter because we had a letter with that stamp on it, didn't we?
Yeah, you know
like,
the seal of Strahd von Zarovich.
And they would be like, the bastard. How could he do this to her? It's a good job we've acted on the hunch that we knew she wasn't safe. But how do we get her to believe that it's his? She's quite clearly infatuated with him. I fear if we confront her in a certain manner, she one, may not believe us, and two, it may push her further into his clutches. And he's just going to kind of sit there with it in the palm of his hand, kind of like looking at it, and then kind of looking back up at Valkyn, and then taking a moment to look back down at it.
Yes, Valkyn will say, spell may be tied to his attachment to this mortal coil. Perhaps need to kill him to get rid of the charm, the spell.
Whilst we're in the because is Irina talking to Father Lucian at the minute?
Yeah, what we'll do, because we Father Lucian, we'll fast forward a little bit. We'll have your 10 minutes is up, Mr. Miller. We'll fast forward a little bit, so you can have that conversation privately. Father Lucian would have invited you in. He would have invited you in, and he'd say, "Let's break some bread and all the rest of it." Him and Irina will go into the back to get a sort of a small snack and some drinks for you together. So you cast your spell. There's no there's not much point anymore, Miller. Unfortunately, there's no magic around you. But it's active for I think it's active for another few minutes if you wanted to keep it up. But so
it's not picking anything. Not that I don't know about the ring, obviously, but I'm not picking any magic up from the ring or anything like that.
No, you're not picking up any magic from Irina, the ring, anything. The only magic that you're picking up is Damian's whip, Valkyn's dagger,
and my axe.
And so Brungrik's axe and Brungrik's cloak.
Yes. Yeah. And the amulet of Ravenkind.
The amulet of Ravenkind and the bag of holding that Damian's got.
Right. Okay. So things that I would probably expect to detect,
yeah,
even though they've not disclosed that they might have them or what have you. Yeah. Okay.
Seeing as we're sort of breaking bread and sitting down and having a little on something, has Valkyn got time to go into a trance?
Have you got 4 hours?
That's what I'm asking.
You can have a short rest here easily. Short rest is an hour, so you can spend your hit dice, or you can, if you rest for the night, it's a long rest, and that would automatically put you on full. It's up to you. What do you want to do?
Depends what everybody else wants to do. How's everybody else looking? They're pretty good, aren't they? That's pretty good.
Well, I could do with obviously regenerating my spell slots and things like that.
You can only do that on a long rest, can't you, Miller?
Yeah.
I'm on 1 HP, so if we get into any sort of trouble, I'm done. I'm thinking.
Could because you only need your 4 hours, don't you?
Yeah.
Could we almost like let Valkyn have a sleep to almost be like rest up, whether you can, for a short period while the rest of us kind of.
But by all means, so it's sort of as we've moved forwards, it's definitely sort of closer towards 7 o'clock now.
I'd only need a short rest to get anything back that I need.
I guess it depends what you're planning on doing now. What's the plan moving forward? Because don't forget, you took a conversation about the ring, and that's it. So what's the plan? Because we came here to speak to her and then go to the pub, didn't we?
We need to find Rictavio, and then we just need.
Do we need to rest at this point, or do we go to the pub and sleep there, find Rictavio?
Well, we can always short rest now with the intention of potentially long rest later as well, because we could be loitering around here for about an hour, which is a short rest.
Piss poor prep.
So if it,
I say have a rest. We've lost too many people on this one. Let him have a rest.
All I'm getting at is what's our plan at this point.
So by the time we finish short rest, Dave, at what time will it be again? Sorry.
7 now. Short rest takes it to 8.
Well, both Miller and Johnson can long rest in 4 hours because they're both elves.
Don't you still? Oh, okay.
You'll need 8 hours.
Yeah, I still
need the resting time. They just sleep for 4 hours, I'm sure.
So I thought
I'm happy to be wrong, mate.
Complete their long rest in 4 hours.
Well, let's. To be honest, it sounds like we've got a plan. We can check that for another day. But if you take an hour, that means Mr. Johnson can spend his hit dice as many as you want to regain your hit points. Damian will get his back. Andy, Mr. Miller can use your arcane recovery to get the equivalent of 4 level spell slots back. And it takes us to 8, and it also means you can have a chat to Irina and Father Lucian as well.
No. I apologise, it is just 4 hours.
Okay, but that would take you to 11.
But, yeah.
I say short rest. Without sounding
You can do some healing.
Spend your dice. Yeah, and then...
I can top you up with some healing as well.
If we have a long rest at the pub after a short rest here...
It works.
Yeah,
you
get half your hit dice back that you spend now, if you wanted to spend any.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down 10 hit points.
Okay, so let's do the mechanical things that you need to do for a short rest then. So if you want to spend hit dice, regain your spell slots, your arcane recovery, Miller.
When I'm spending hit dice, mate, when I go for short rest and it says hit dice, and you got different slots at the bottom, and it says take short rest.
Yeah.
Selected automatically apply healing, but it doesn't do anything.
Have you got a heart?
No.
So spend.
I've just got the anything I've got.
I compare sort of. There is well. Go on, Lewis. You've just done it. How did you do
that? So I went onto D&D Beyond. You click on short rest at the top, and it will bring up short rest, recover, and then my class, and then you've got some boxes underneath it.
Yep.
Click on the automatically apply healing with dice result. Make sure that's selected, and then literally mark as many of the hit dice that you want. So let's say, for example, if you've got 7 boxes and you want to recover 3 boxes worth, highlight 3 of the boxes.
Yeah.
Click take short rest.
Yeah.
And then it should give you it should have the rolling number above it. So if you select 3, so Reman's done it.
Sound.
Mine doesn't do it.
So have you got the boxes highlighted?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it underneath those boxes? Does it give you an example of 3d10 plus 2 or something like that?
you doing it on your phone, Johnson?
It's on my Mac, mate. I can just 4d8 plus 2.
Is that come up as it now?
No, it says it says my class rogue in brackets hit die 1d8 plus 2.
Yeah, and then you got some
Well,
square boxes under that.
And
Yeah.
highlighted the ones I've highlighted 4 of them, and then take short rest and then confirm. And
So
then
there's no box underneath it saying like 4D, whatever your thing is under those highlighted boxes.
When you click on the first box to select it, another box will appear which will say 1d8 plus something.
Yeah.
With a heart next to it.
there we go. Yeah. Right.
I think I have the same problem with mine, to be fair, so I end up manually rolling a lot of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not doing it. It's not applying it, so I'll just have to do it manually. It's fine.
Okay.
How many arcane recovery? How many spell slots can I do? It says up to level 4.
Yeah. So you can have 1/4 level spell, or you can have a third and a first, 2 second, or 4 first.
Oh, right, got you.
Or any sort of combination. Okay, so that's going to be. What's your constitution bonus, Mr. Johnson?
Plus 2. So
Plus 2, so that's going to be plus 8.
16. What was it? All right, for each die.
For
Okay,
each dice,
so
yeah.
22. Yeah.
So, you're breaking bed with Father Lucian and Irina. Where are we going to take the conversation?
I think Barwolf will be just be in a bit of a corner somewhere, obviously just sharpening in his blade and everything, thinking to himself something was abnormal about that, and he was really pissed off that he managed to get past him.
Yeah, sure.
I think Damian would be quite upfront and honest with Irina, and this kind of explained a bit about the journey. So, following being in Vallaki, we went out to the Wizards of Wine's winery, and we ended up helping the Martikov family with a problem that they had. It took us to a Gulfias tree at the top of what's it called? Something Hill, with the Druids of Yesterhill. So we went to the top of Yesterhill, and upon reaching the summit of Yesterhill, we came across some of the Druids, as well as the Devil himself. This was our first meeting, and unfortunately, it was the point where Rillik and Niloren fell. He summoned this rock kind of construct that hammered both Rillik and Niloren and ended them both. He was trying to summon a Wicker Man using this green magic gem that was supposed to destroy us all, but we managed to stop the ritual, but at a great cost. Following the conclusion of this battle and leaving us for dead, Strahd flew off into the distance on his nightmare with his weird, ghostly woman figure that follows him around, and says he was heading for Vallaki, and he says, "My Tatiana waits." And I didn't understand the Tatiana reference. However, I knew that we had moved you to this village and was concerned that he's come for you once before and that he would come for you again. And unfortunately, I fear that this is true. He has come for you.
So as she's looking more and more alarmed as you mentioned this, you mentioned the devil initially, and her eyes go wide. She opens her mouth, and then she's more intent just listening, and she's looking between you and the rest of the party and Father Lucian. She says, "Oh, well, I've never felt safer with Father Lucian here and Vasily to help me. This is terrible news. And who's this Tatiana? I've never heard of a Tatiana.
I
At
didn't
that point,
understand.
I think Barwolf will look up and go, "Silly girl, the seal is Strahd. I felt it when I shook his hand." And I think at that then point, like Jake and Johnson can go, "Oh shit, he knew." See what she says to that.
She's just silent. She's looking. Obviously, she was chatting to Damian, and she's just had this accusation thrown against her. And you see a little bit of the fire behind her eyes as she's affronted, and then she stops and starts to think. And then, almost straight away, what you would all notice is as this fire returns, it melts again, and she sort of drops her shoulders. Vasily's here to help me. He's such a wonderful man.
I think Barwolf go, "Monster knows other monsters," as he slams his sword into the table.
Yeah, Father Lucian's sort of looking backwards and forwards at this point. He's not sure what to make of it. And I think, in fact, Father Lucian need to probably pick up the conversation here as Irina sort of dreamily starts thinking about Vasily again, and he'll say, he'll probably say make some excuse to try and get rid of her at this point in the nicest possible way, and he'll look concerned at you and he'll say, "What on earth is on my doorstep? What is happening? You suspect that Vasily is the devil?"
Well, if he's not the devil himself, he's in league with the devil. And at that point, I'd show Father Lucian the ring with the stamp, and I'd also, say we've come across this seal before. It is the devil seal. Vasily had this ring. This is his ring.
He'll yeah, no, I'm not even going to ask for a roll for that because it's. I mean, you've done good work for Father Lucian. He believes you. He'll say, "I just need to check one thing about Father Lucian if I can find him." And he'll say, "Well, what's to be done? What can we do? I mean, she can. You think she's under his thrall?"
With the way she's acting at the moment, this isn't the. At first, I thought, because she was safe and she was more content that this was, just a happier version of Irina. However, it seems that she is different, and that Barovian fire that she has normally is kind of fading.
He'll say, "Yeah, no, now you've mentioned it. Yeah, why didn't I notice it any sooner? I feel partially responsible. And he'll look because Brungrik is dressed. He's got like Pella on his shield, and you can tell he's it. He'll turn towards Brungrik and he'll say, "I believe I should be able to do something. I should be able to calm her emotions, but it's going to take me until tomorrow morning to be able to do it. Is there any way that any of you guys can reverse this charm, this curse on her?"
Could everybody at the table just sit and stare at the dwarf?
So, yeah, well, this is the problem. I've got two problems now. First off, I was thinking about rolling a check. But the problem is that a certain individual, Lewis, has just openly said in front of Brungrik that Strahd was stood in front of him and didn't tell Brungrik. So Brungrik is giving him the biggest stink eye known to man. He is fucking fuming that he was that close to Strahd and nobody told him and he wasn't aware of it. So I think at the minute he's a bit distracted.
Okay.
Yeah. So obviously to metagame, I was thinking about doing an arcana sort of thing to try and figure out if I could dispel the charm or not. but Brungrik he's just eyeballing Barwolf.
Could Barwolf look at Brungrik and go, "Problem, Master Dwarf"?
If you want to pick that fight, mate.
Come on, we may as well, haven't we?
Okay, let's go, bitch. And
He's not your best bud Theron now, is he?
yeah, bring back Theron. I liked him. So at that provocation, it'll probably snap this sort of lock, this sort of target lock he'd got on Barwolf, and he'll walk over and use like the top of the haft of his axe, he'll push it against his chest, and he'll be like, Strahd was out there, and you said nothing to me.
Well, while this little kerfuffle's going on, I'll just sort of mosey on up to Damian and the father, and I'll say, I can have a look and see if there's anything that's untoward, and so we know what, by using my identify ritual, I can touch Irina and try and identify what is potentially
sure
holding her.
Yeah. Okay. So 10 minutes. That's running then while the boys are having their Barney. Remind me of that, Miller, if I forget.
Yeah.
Nice one. Okay.
I think Barwolf will stare him back at it like proper dead in the eye and go, "You don't rush something like hunting a monster like Strahd. The slightest miscalculation, you'll kill us all. Ask your new compadres what happened to their friends when they rushed in these problems," and he'll push the dwarf backwards, not forcefully, but to say, "Back off."
He'll be, "Listen here, lad, don't talk to me about losing everything. It's already been done. I have one job, and that's all I have left. And you have just taken that away from me. That information," and he sort of turns and looks at Damian, and he says, "You're next. That information I needed to know, and I needed to know it 10 minutes ago when I could have done something about it."
I think at that point, Damian would pipe up and he'd kind of like shout back at them both, and he'd say, "Look, why are we all here? We all have a common enemy. What is the point in fighting between ourselves? You can say what you want, Brungrik. I appreciate that, but we only found out that potentially could be an associate or Strahd himself within the last, half an hour or so. It was after he had already left. We need to ensure that we are prepared for this fight, and at the moment, we are not. We have lost too many and been through too much. As you well know, Brungrik, Barwolf, your intuition is obviously on point, and hopefully we can use the knowledge that you have to help identify what's going on with Irina. But at the moment, fighting between ourselves is pointless."
I think Barwolf at that point will nod at Damian and then craftily stow the dagger that he had pointed towards the wee dwarf away and go, "Hi," and walk back over to the corner and start sharpening his sword again.
So he's still pissed. He'll turn to Father Lucian and say, "There's probably a spell, but it'll have to be tomorrow." And he'll look at Damian and he'll be like, "Ready? I was ready days ago." And he'll just storm off.
Nicely done. Yeah. So there's a bit of an atmosphere. People are walking off to their corners. Unless anyone's got any objection, we'll fast forward the 10 minutes to Reman's identification of what's happening. And Reman, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So you would be aware of the fact you would identify a charm on her, but it isn't of. It is a magical nature, but it's not from a spell. It's not something that you could dispel with a dispel magic. So it would be an ability from potentially a vampire, and it would be a charm that could only be removed by abilities that. So Calm Emotion is a second level cleric spell that would remove charm effects. Protection from Good and Evil would be able to. I think Protection from Good and Evil could do it. You would need to check the wording of Protection from Good and Evil, but so you would be aware that would do it.
So protection from evil and good. This says the target can't be charmed. So would it, in theory, break the charm? Oh, hang on. If the target's already charmed, frightened, or possessed by such a creature, the target has advantage on a new saving throw. So if you choose protection from good or evil, you're given an advantage to.
Yeah. So Calm Emotion being a second level spell just wipes it out. But you can try protection from. You'd be aware of this with your identification spell, then, Miller.
I've got a use of protection of good. Well, I've got 2 use of protection from good and evil.
I have, but it's not prepared at the moment.
Yeah. I've got
I think
Calm
I can
Emotions, but it's not prepared, which is why Brungrik said I could do it tomorrow.
I can use it as a ritual. Well, mine's a ritual, I think. I mean, I don't know whether it fits with kind of the current scenario. Brungrik's pissed and wandered off, and Valkyn's napping, Barwolf's there, and then Revan's there, and Damian's there with Father Lucian. Whether that would play into the kind of current situation that Damian maybe would have a crack using his protection from good and evil first on Revan's hunch, and if that doesn't work, then we can use the Calm Emotions.
Okay, so you're going to go for it, casting your protection from good and evil?
I think, well, if Revan's come back and given me the information about it, then I think...
Yeah, I would have said, there's nothing I can do about it today. This is the score. This is what I've detected. But
Thank you very much.
I can't do anything else.
Ooh, was that Lou gone? Or is it Sam?
I think it's Sam.
Oh, it's Sam.
I think Lou's potentially going to get another beer.
Right, so I'll roll saving throw with advantage.
Yeah.
You okay. So as part of the spell, did you say it was a ritual or just a cast?
I think I can use it as it just says one action at the moment. One use.
Yeah. Action is an action then. So as you cast the spell, what we'll say is part of the spell for Damian would be talking to Irina, and gauging whether it's made a difference. And every time you mention Vasily, she sort of does this sort of eye flutter, girly. You can tell that she's melting a little bit, and that doesn't change after you've cast your spell. It doesn't seem to have worked. He's got a good firm grip on her.
On kind of that note, Damian would kind of he'd say goodnight to Irene. He'd say, it's been lovely to see you again, and he'd walk out. But as he kind of walks in the church, without being too disrespectful, would either hit one of the pews, or he'd kind of be quite annoyed at the situation that it's not worked, and kind of take his frustration out.
Okay, so as you walk away, Father Lucian is seeing what you're attempting to do. In fact, that might change what he could possibly do. Let me because I was just checking Calm Emotion. No, that's yeah. So he'll put Father Lucian will put his hand on Damian's shoulder as you walk away. And again, he'll sort of mention Irina out. She'll go about her business. So you've got the room with Father Lucian. He'll say, "I can help her in the morning." It's now that I remember, over the past 2 days that Vasily has been visiting, he only visits after nightfall. As soon as night has dropped, he's there knocking on the door, wanting to see Irina. But well before then, I'll be able to release her from his grasp. The fact that he hasn't entered, and after she's released, if I tell her what happens, I'm pretty sure I could keep her safe. This, thanks to you, this is safe ground from a creature such as he.
We have a little bit more. We have more business to conclude in Vallaki at the moment. We need to head to the tavern. We will conclude that business tonight, and then we'll head back over here in the morning. On that kind of note, Damian would kind of ask Father Lucian to just say, "Have you got any holy water at all?"
Let's see. Let's have a persuasion roll. You can have it with advantage. You're doing some good work tonight, boys. I'm enjoying this. I keep forgetting to hand out inspiration. But in fact, I mentioned this to Johnson. He's still got it. He's from the Death House.
Yeah, Niloren
Fucking
died with his.
hell.
Did you?
No,
Really?
it was a 15 with advantage.
15 with advantage. 15 is he'll say, well, it's not a rich church, but yeah, sure. You know what? He will spare. Roll a d4 for me, Jake.
We all know how my d4 rolling goes. Oh, it's 4.
4
gallons.
vials of holy water.
Takes us up to a grand total of 6. 5, 6 vials. I think we've got at the minute.
Strictly speaking, I think
2 flasks.
I think protection from good and evil costs, and it uses it as well, isn't it? So it is a monetary component that. So now you've got 6. We'll start paying attention to that, shall we?
I've got 2 flasks of it.
What
Not
kind of
vials,
cornetto
fucking
have you got there,
flasks.
sir?
I think they're the same thing.
Mate, my room is south facing, and the curtains have been open all day, so it is bakingly hot in here.
Ooh.
If I weren't on camera, this t-shirt wouldn't be on.
Okay, so
That's for your barbarian character next time.
I'll do it when I rage next time. I'll just rip it off.
And stop record. And tear out eyes. Right, so yeah, he's quite happy to give you the vials. He's saying that it's hallowed ground. He should be able to. He's going to be able to cast Calm Emotions after he's rested. Anything else we need to do in the church?
I think as Barwolf will leave, he'll look at the donation box and he'll probably just chuck a couple of gold pieces.
Sound.
Because that's the kind of chap he is.
Yeah, nice. Okay, good. So Father Lucian, we'll see.
Okay, he'll go up and take him back out.
I was going to say, just make sure you do it in front of or behind Valkyn.
We were all waiting for that.
Roll is so that's a perception from Barwolf and a sleight of hand from Valkyn.
All right.
$50. Oh, fucking hell.
What's your plus on that?
I think it's plus 10, is it? Plus 10, so rolled a 19. Yeah. There it is. Yeah, so help yourself to mark off 2 gold, please, Lewis, and then Mr. Johnson, if you can add 2 pikey gold. That's right. So the streets now are pretty much deserted. The lanterns are lit. Your way to the inn is relatively straightforward. You know exactly where you're going. Which I'll just have to remind myself if that's where it is. Yeah, so along the main road, it's 5-6 minutes, and you see the Blue Water Inn in front of you. Again, you've all, even the new characters, you'd have been in Vallaki before, so you're aware of it. There's lights spilling from the entrance. There's no noise from inside. Everything seems quiet. You're pretty sure that Rictavio wouldn't be in there, or at least he's certainly not performing as you enter. As you open the front door of the Blue Water Inn, Unwin Martikov, as soon as he's busy doing something, he looks up and he's about to say, "I'll be with you in a bit," and he just holds up both of his hands and say, "Damian, Valkyn, and your new friends. Come in, come," and he waves you in, sits you down. You can tell he's been a little bit coy with some of the patrons. Necessarily, sort of reins himself in a little bit, and he says, "Sit. I'll bring you some drinks. I'll bring you some food. I'll be right back." And he disappears. His wife will come and go. Brungrik. At this point, you'll notice 2 boys come out of the back room. 2 boys that you have met before. You'd have met them as Brom and Bray.
I know them by name.
They did. They were talking to each other when you met them.
Saved them, Dave. I saved them.
And as they're sort of scampering across. They're as you walk into the bar at the Blue Water Inn. Let me just remind myself of this as well. Blue Water. Tess has got chicken pox.
Oh,
it's Tess's turn. Yeah, so as you walk in through the main door, all your old characters are here. Let me get rid of some of these.
Oh no, it's painful.
Rillik, dead. Alanonl, dead. Niloren's there, dead.
He's got 2 eyes as well.
Did he have 2 eyes? Did he?
No, he wouldn't have been. No, he wouldn't have. Did the picture have 2 eyes?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Fucking hell, Dave.
Oh, in the wounds.
So as you walk through, you're all sat around this table. There's no Brom and Bray are on the balcony above, and they're playing. They come out of a room. One pushes the other, and they hit the balcony, and they're swearing at each other and sort of laughing. And the eldest one will turn around, and the look of shock on his face, and he'll gesture to his brother as they see Brungrik. So just have a perception check from everyone other than Brungrik, just to see if you notice any of this. And you see the look of guilt on the face of Brom and Bray. The eldest one, Brom, will look towards Brungrik, and you see him, and he sort of holds his hand up, and he says, and he's sort of shaking his head like this, and he looks worried, and he's sort of shaking his head like this, and then they'll disappear and walk back out. So we'll take it individually. So Valkyn and Damian would have noticed this. So we'll say that so Valkyn's there, Damian's there. So you other two have got your back to the bar.
Sure. Before we say anything, Dave.
Yeah.
Do you know if you've got an advantage A next to your roll? Do you roll that as advantage, or am I being thick? Does it do it automatically?
No, you do, but it might be due to the circumstances.
Right, because I've not been rolling advantage on some of my rolls tonight with my A's next to them.
I think for perception, it might be for smell and auditory things for you.
You know what? You might be right. But yeah, so if there is an A next to it and there's a certain criteria, then I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up now.
It might even highlight it as well next to your thing as to why you get it.
No, you have to click on it.
Blood hunters get loads of advantage rolls on skill checks. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've got loads. Absolutely loads.
I don't think it would have applied to that.
No, it wouldn't have, but that's just handy to know.
Tidy. So anything from Valkyn or Damian then as to this, what seems to have happened?
I mean, I'd quite happily ask, like, is everything okay, Brungrik?
Aye, everything's fine, laddie. Let's get some drinks. He's not quite as jovial as he usually is. He's still a bit peeved. He's going to drink his sorrows away.
So Unwin will return, and as he returns, he's got on his tray. You can see he's got 5 pints of wine. For you all, they come in pints, and bread and sort of the basic accoutrements for sitting down. There's also a bag as well. There's 2 bags. No, there's a bag and a box. We'll say, and he puts the drink down. And he'll say, Listen, my brother's arrived with the delivery of wine. They've told us what you did. What can I say? What can I say to you? Are you staying tonight? It's no charge if you come and go as you please. Same rooms as last time. I've kept them for you. You know where you're going. And I'll skip the introductions because we're going to be doing it every time. There'll be introductions with the new characters. And he'll welcome you all. and he'll put the bag, this grey bag, down, and he'll say, "Listen, I've had this for some time. I don't know if you're going to find it handy." And he will tell you that it's a magic item. It's inside it. The magic of it summons these sort of small balls. As you pull them out and throw them down, it summons certain creatures, and it can do this 3 times every day. And it's a grey bag of tricks that you can, if you want to have a look, see what it does, see who's best suited to have it and use it. It's now yours. In this box, as he opens it up to you, you can see there are 2 elixirs and 3 potions. So there's 3 potions of healing, and there's 2 elixirs of health in there, as well as a 3rd pouch that he produces from his a money pouch that he produces and puts it in front of you, and there are 290 electrum pieces in there as well. And he'll say, "Listen, this is virtually everything that we've amassed. Not much money changes hand in Barovia, so we can easily lose this, and you guys may have better use of it." Yeah, so add that to the bag of holding, or whatever you want to do with it.
You get it all, Jake.
So I'm just, because I was just thinking in terms of like divvying it up. Is it worth that? There's 3 potions of healing, 2 elixirs of health. If everyone gets one of something, so everyone has it on their personal, because you can just use it as an action then to drink it, rather than somebody have to run over, then give it. Do you know what I mean? If you're in a combat situation, shit hits the fan. At least if everyone has a potion of healing, we're okay. Or as a bare minimum.
What's the difference with elixirs of health as opposed to potion of healing?
Don't know whether it does a bit more healing.
No, it just removes effects, I believe. Elixir of health. I don't think it does actually heal you.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm honest with you, elixir.
Causes any disease afflicting you, and it removes the blinded, deaf, and paralyzed and poisoned conditions. So it's basically a potion that is, in essence, lesser restoration.
Yes, smash it. So, but yes, I mean, yes, everyone needs a potion of healing on them at all times for stopping those death saves.
Well, I've already got a potion of healing on me, so I'm happy to donate the other potions of healing to other people. I'd say potentially it's worth Brungrik having with being the cleric, if you have the elixir of healing, or if maybe potentially Barwolf has one, just in case. What I don't know what, because you're immune to poison, aren't you, Sam?
Yep.
Without getting too meta, and then I don't know whether Barwolf gets any benefits with being a Lycan. Are you immune to diseases?
Resistant, sorry.
Well, you don't know that yet.
He's metagaming this one, Lewis.
Oh,
for Divian and Blue.
No, I only get resistance to the same attacks as a werewolf.
Okay. So I think Valkyn might benefit from the bag of tricks because it might make a good distraction at some point.
Nice.
He's already got it. He's just looking at it already.
Yeah, you weren't watching. He just took it.
Yeah, he rolled a 2 for his sleight of hand. He's got it. Shady mother. Yeah, but add that to your inventory then, Mr. Johnson. Have a read. You're not going to need it for tonight, but it's a nice. It's a grey bag of tricks you've got.
Is everyone happy with that?
Tricks.
Yeah.
So I'm taking an elixir of health.
Well, do you want to take both of them?
I've got the spell less restoration, mate, as well.
Well, okay, I'll take another elixir of health then. If I take one of them, you take one, and then the 3 potions of healing. If Revan, do you want to take one?
Yeah, I have one.
Johnson, if you take one.
What's that, mate? Sorry, say again.
Potion of healing.
You take a potion of healing, and then
Potion
if
of
Barwolf
healing.
takes a potion of healing as well.
Yeah.
And then just for ease of things, shall we just
All the money in the pool, mate.
yeah, have we? Because
We've got some Electrum pieces.
we've already got quarter.
I'm going to add to it as well. I've just I didn't read this. He gives you 6 pieces of jewellery as well, each of them worth 250 gold.
Yeah, just keep them. They might come in useful for spellcasting.
I'll stick them in my bag of holding. And then how much did you say it was? 200 and how much for Electrum pieces?
290.
190.
Just have to remember I'm carrying the group loot. That's all.
Okay.
Is there a like custom thing for the elixir of health, Dave?
No, you can't search it.
Yeah, elixir of health.
I've just found it.
Yeah, it should just be able to add it.
Okay, I'll sort that in a second. And then you said 4 pieces of jewellery with 4 or 5,
Six,
was it?
6 pieces of jewellery, 250 gold each.
Can Barwolf turn around and say, I don't want any of the money that I didn't earn, and push it back towards Valkyn and Damian? Because he didn't
Sure.
earn it, did he?
Yeah. No, that's a fair gesture. Yeah.
Okay,
He says, I will take the potion.
Defo.
And Damian just kind of say like nod as a token gesture for kind of helping us get to Vallaki in the first place. You know, he helped us in the fight against the witches and the undead folk. So.
Okay.
Yeah, Reman would do the same. He wouldn't take he would take the potion, but he wouldn't take any gold because he hadn't done out yet.
Right.
But he is a bit intrigued about these magical orb things. He wants to know a bit more what's going on there.
You'd have heard about them. So, have a look on D&D Beyond. I don't think they would be for you. I think I think Johnson is the perfect person to have them actually.
They're really cool. I had them on my rogue fighter that I had for my last game. The brown bag of tricks.
Grey bag of tricks.
You can summon like
Yeah,
elves
it's in the inventory now.
things, can't you?
Yes.
You basically, yeah.
And rats.
I didn't fully understand what you were saying at the time with what they were. They're just...
You don't.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing
Weasel,
about.
giant rat, badger, boar, panther, giant badger, direwolf, giant elk.
You don't get much loot from Curse of Strahd, so it's nice to be able to actually help some out here. So are we happy? Everyone got everything recorded that we need?
Yeah.
Because it's 10 o'clock. I know we've perhaps got another hour in as if a maximum, but I want to push it a little bit further. What I'm going to tell you after Unwin's told you you've got the run of the place, you come and go as you please. Brumbrae have basically made themselves. They've disappeared now. They've not come back. The front door will open and Rictavio will just walk straight in. Clocks Damian and Valkyn straight away. And he sort of nods over to you and he'll join you at the table as Unwin comes and goes. And Rictavio will sit at the table with you. Are we okay to skip over introductions again? Because we're just going to... Yeah.
Does it look like Rictavio, not like...
Yeah, it's Rictavio, yeah. And he makes a point. What Damian and Valkyn will notice that he... it's subtle enough because you know the difference. He will say, I am Rictavio. Very... In a sort of this is who I am type way, to remind you that he is Rictavio. But
we don't know his...
You don't know his Van Richten, yeah. In fact, yes, it is just Damian and Valkyn that would know.
Yeah. Could we not pick up on anything that...
Brungrik would know. Surely we'd have had this discussion by now.
Sure, if that's... Yeah, if that's...
I know we don't. I know we don't really role play many of the rests and stuff, but I'd like to think there'd have been discussions about leading up. You know, when we've been resting at night inside the hut where we're safe, to have these discussions. I'd like to think that there would have been a discussion about who Rictavio truly is and all that.
Sure, but this is the first time you've met him.
Yeah.
Smashing. Okay, so we'll start off with Rictavio then, and he'll look. And he'll ask the question about what happened to the other characters, and again we'll skip over that because we're just going to end up repeating ourselves a lot. He'll say sorry for your losses, genuinely sorry for your losses, and he'll respond to this straight away. And he's addressing all of you by saying, so the plan before the losses was for us to rid you of this hag curse. Is that still the plan?
Can Barwolf look up at that point and go, hag? Because he didn't know about the hags, did he?
Had you not had that conversation with Damian?
No, because you met up with us when we were in the middle of a fight, didn't we? So I didn't know about the hags. Miller did.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So he'll look a little bit aghast, and he'll look between. Okay. I just assumed that this was the posse that you'd put together to go hunting the hags.
Well, we've ended up a bit sidetracked, if I'm honest with you, Rictavio. We came to the Wizard's Tower to seek you. We have met one of your acquaintances, wonderful lady, I have to say. But essentially we were on the road back to here because you weren't at the Wizard's Tower, and that's where we came across our good friend Barwolf here. And we haven't had a chance to kind of give him the full briefing as to why we're here. He's just followed us.
Okay, I understand. When you say female, you've met someone?
Yeah.
A good lady Esmeralda.
And straight away you can see his face, and it's a strange set of emotions. You can see he's elated initially, and then confused, and then this could work to our advantage. 1 second, gentlemen. And he starts sort of making various gestures. So he's going to cast a spell. So who would know?
Would we know
Reman, and I don't think anyone other than Reman and Brungrik would know what's happening. But he's casting a sending spell. Sending spell is basically it's one of the only things that can cross planar boundaries, but it doesn't need to in these circumstances. So I think it's a 3rd level spell. You can send a message to someone. It's a good, decent 25 words or something like that. They receive the message and it comes back. So you can see him concentrating. He casts the spell and he just sits there briefly, relaxes, and then he looks up again and said, "Wonderful. She'll be here tomorrow. She will be a great aid against the hags." That's 2 NPCs for your dungeon master to play during the.
Ooh, are you going to fight this time, Dave?
Can Barwolf at this point just go, how many hags are we talking about?
I think Damian would reply back that there's a coven of 3 of them.
Because obviously he's got a bit of knowledge of hunting monsters and things. He says the only way to kill a hag is to separate them. So how do we start doing this? Obviously not worried, but quite like focused then, because you've mentioned a monster and he likes monsters.
Hopefully this is where Rictavio comes into play. Last time we met, you said you had a way of separating them.
I have a way of keeping them, but after what you've told me about this Theron character, I'm pretty sure they'll know we're coming. And he'll turn towards Barwolf at this point, and he'll say, "Yeah, coven, night hags. Have you experience of these creatures before?"
I think he'll say never a coven only singular.
Yeah,
This is
cool.
a very young hag, but still quite a formidable foe.
Yeah, all hags are formidable foes, even more so in covens. So what I've got planned is to go full meta with this shit now. I don't care because I want you to kill them, and I want you've got. So the people that would know is you've got the greatest monster hunter in the history of Dungeons and Dragons in front of you, giving you advice about how to kill hags. Not only that, his protege is coming along to help you and your abilities. So what we're going to do for the rest of the session is discuss the plan for killing the hags on the next session. So what I can tell you is Rictavio will say, as he's just said, he suspects that the hags will now know that you're coming for them. Their home is the windmill. He strongly suspects, that that's where they're going to be, and that's where you're going to have to confront them. Night hags are particularly nasty. They can turn ethereal, and this is full meta, I don't care, as an action. It has to be an action. So like you're casting your spell, you're attacking. It's not a bonus action, it's an action to turn ethereal. So that means if there's three hags, and Barwolf has just said this, 3 hags have to be within 30 feet of each other to form a coven. If you can separate them, if you can somehow take one out, either send it away, get it to disappear, then you've got a better chance. Rictavio will also tell you that the hags like to bargain. If there's a way to bargain with them,
yeah,
they will, as long as it's favourable or they've got no choice, they will bargain with you. He'll remind you all, specifically as you're talking, what you can and can't do. And well, let me ask you this question. Especially with the new characters, are you going to keep some of your abilities secret, or are you going to put all of your cards on the table right here, right now, because it sounds like you need to?
Well, knowing that Rictavio is obviously another spellcaster and that, obviously my ears are going to prick up. I said I'd like to discuss with you, what I know, what's best to bring to the fight, and ask if there are any rituals or whatever like that he could teach me prior to the battle that might help.
Okay, nice. I don't. He'll say, I'm not the person you need to talk to. My magic comes from a divine source. When Ez gets here, she may be able to assist in that. But I don't think. I mean, learning a new spell is. It's quite a long time. I forget how you do it. It's in Player's Handbook, Miller. If you have a look.
Yeah, it's like golden time.
Yeah. So you might have time to learn one spell from, and he'll say Esmeralda is an arcane caster, so she might be able to teach you some. But he hasn't necessarily got anything. But you're telling him all of your abilities. You're quite happy to say, this is what I can do.
Yeah. Because I get the impression from our gathering that although I don't know him, I've heard of him. Obviously in my travels in Barovia.
Everyone's heard of Van Richten.
Yeah, and obviously I've picked up that there's quite a bond between Damian and Valkyn. They know him, and what have you. So I'm quite happy. I'm putting my trust in them as well, saying that right, you weren't best pleased the fact that I'm walking around with my posse of zombies, but I'm here to rid the world of evil. I'm just using evil to help me, so that's where I'm sort of going.
Well, you know what? I'll touch on that then. So as Reman starts discussing his abilities, the more he discusses the fact that he can summon and control these undead, Rictavio looks pleased by this, and he thinks you'll be a great help, assuming that you have them under control before you enter. So same question to Barwolf then.
About my abilities.
Yeah.
It says, well, Barwolf said, as many of you have seen already, in order to cast my magic, I have to inflict damage to myself. It's a balance, and that's the whole point of the Blood Moon. I have one further secret as well. I'm blessed with lycanthropy. I can turn into a lichen at will, but I have full control over my emotions, and I know who I am, and I can change back. This is the power bestowed from the Raven Queen and the Blood Moon Pact to me from my mentor. If we need to separate these hags, I also have an ability where I can freeze any enemy in one place and they cannot react. But again, this takes sacrifice. So I'll need your help if you want one of these hags frozen. I'll have to inflict damage on myself. I'll need to be pulled back as soon as I do so, but that hag will not be able to move.
Right. Okay. As in, is that extra planner as well? Does that stop them from?
It's a bonus action, so as soon as I cast this Blood Maledict, that hag will not move an inch. But it costs me some necrotic damage.
Right, but she could still use an action to turn ethereal.
She can, but I don't think she can react or take an action. I'll have to have a double check before the next session.
Right. Well, that might come in handy, because the other thing that Rictavio is going to remind you of, and specifically to Brungrik and to Reman, is one of their most annoying abilities as a coven is counter magic. How counter spells work in D&D, full meta. Come on, boys, we can take these bitches down. It's go on, Jake.
No, so I missed it. I didn't hear the full question. What did you just say?
Rictavio's, and he was talking specifically to Brungrik and to Reman, and he was saying how the coven of hags have access to counter magic, counter spell. So you have action to attack, bonus action as a faffy thing, and then you have a reaction. Most of the time we've used reaction. That's as an opportunity attack if someone's running away from you. Counter spell is a reaction spell. So on if Brungrik or Alanonl, sorry Miller,
that's right,
Brungrik or Reman, if the hags can see them and you're casting a spell, they can use one of their spell slots as a reaction to cancel it, to counter it straight away. They have to be able to see you, and they have to have a reaction to do it. What Barwolf is saying is he can remove a reaction from one of the hags. What Van Richten will add to that is the other stipulation with counter magic is they have to see you. If you can go unseen, then you can still cast it. Or if you can remove a reaction.
Once they've used a reaction, they'll only be able to react once, though, won't they?
Yep. Once until the start of their next round.
And they can only do that if they're within 30 foot of each other.
That's part of the coven criteria. They have to be within individually. They're quite hard anyway. But the coven feature only functions, and this counter magic only functions if they're within 30 feet. Mr. Johnson had a question.
So, one's trying to get them apart, one's trying to separate them. I take it we're going to the windmill to confront them. The plan. Right.
That Rictavio would struggle for any other plan.
Okay. I'm thinking, as part in my toolkit, I've got Sky's kit. I'm thinking of, and you said that the hags like to barter and whatnot from disguise. Actually, lure one of the hags away from the windmill. potentially separate, get that 30 feet. Is that a little bit too out there?
At this point, let's just turn my fan off because I'm struggling to hear you, Andy. I think Rictavio is going to say at this point, what I'm going to set it up as is just a pure combat encounter. I think he's going to say to you that I think you're beyond that. They know that you're coming for them, and I don't think they'd fall for that.
Would we know if they've got devilish?
Hold up. Johnson's in his I'm fighting hags position. Sorry, Jake.
I'm thinking.
Would we know if they've got dark vision or devil sight?
You would. As far as I'm concerned, I can tell you everything about them. Rictavio does have one suggestion, and it's a bit of a long shot because it involves a magic circle spell. It's a 3rd level spell that both he and Esmeralda would have access to. But
so does Brungrik.
So does Brungrik. But it takes 1 whole minute to cast. A minute is... How many rounds is that? Is that
10 rounds?
10 rounds of combat.
10 round of combat.
10 rounds of combat. Right, so Night Hags. I'm going to give you this all, and I'm quite happy to repeat it. When we're in combat, I'm not going to tell you it, but all the way up until this, I'm quite happy to give you as much information as I can. So they're pretty hardy. They can take a lot of damage. Their skin is quite tough. They have resistance, so this is automatically take half damage from cold, fire, and non-magical attacks that aren't silvered. They cannot be charmed.
Alright, slow down. So the hardy take a lot of damage, the tough-skinned.
Yep. Half damage, so this is resistances. Cold, fire, and non-magical attacks that aren't silver.
Cold. Was it cold fire?
Cold, fire, non-magical attacks that aren't silvered.
But they can take lightning damage.
Yep. Lightning, force. In fact, force damage is probably the best damage in the whole game. I'll give you that as free
Okay.
for.
Necrotic.
They have no resistance to necrotic. They can't be charmed. That's just immunity to charm. They have dark vision to 120 feet, and they're very perceptive. They're reasonably perceptive.
But
I've just remembered I'm
Johnson
dealing with Valkyn.
Johnson has access to darkness, though, doesn't he? As a spell.
Johnson has access to darkness. Johnson has access to fairy fire.
Which means you can eliminate their ability to see. Because even any creature with dark vision still can't see in complete darkness if you cast a darkness spell.
They need devil sight.
It's devil sight, yeah. So that's the there's warlocks can have it, but
considered casting darkness quite a few times, but then I'm thinking, well, it can defeat the object of casting it because you can't see, but I can't see it. You can't see them either.
But if they can't see, they can't react.
If you were to cast it on them themselves,
they can't counter spell.
They're screwed, aren't they? Because they can't see out of it. They can't see. We can't see in it, but they're out of the equation.
And it goes to 60 feet.
Where you're going to inflict damage on them is with an area effect. AoE attack. You can't see them.
You're taking too much out, Jake. For my money, Valkyn would be at disadvantage to hit, so that's a lot of damage. If you can get Valkyn to crit, and also your melee, Jake, you're going to be at disadvantage to hit them as well.
I'm not talking about taking the whole field out in darkness. What I'm talking about is eliminating 2 into darkness. If we can hit 2 for darkness, they can't react, which leaves 1 vulnerable. They've got to move out of the darkness to do anything. They can't see.
Right.
So therefore, they can't cast a spell because they have to be able to see the person casting. So in theory, we've only got one creature's reaction to contend with until they get out of the complete darkness field.
Which
Gotcha.
I could eliminate with my attack and get rid of their reaction.
That's assuming that they don't counterspell the darkness.
So
we've got to take all of this into consideration. Here's what Rictavio will suggest in terms of not being able to see. The other thing that he could potentially suggest that might help is he knows that Esmeralda has access to a greater invisibility spell, so it's a 4th level spell. Invisibility, it's a wonderful spell. You turn invisible. As soon as you take an action, you become visible. Greater invisibility is a 4th level spell. You stay invisible for 4 minutes. So Esmeralda's pretty handy with melee weapons. She could cast that on someone else, and she could also potentially teach that to Reman to cast on himself. So you can potentially have a cleric and a light cleric and a necromancer invisible for the fight.
Or on the
yeah,
zombie.
so I was just looking through my spells, and it was a really I'm really out there. I have 2 3rd level spells I could possibly combine. Meld into stone, so I could, if there were stones on the battlefield big enough, I could meld into them, and then in the protection of that stone, cast Magic Circle. But then Dave said that I could use greater invisibility, which obviously was, I didn't know that bit when I came up with that plan.
Okay, that would have been nice, though, Sal. But that's
pretty saucy, isn't it? It's 2 3rd level spells, so it's a big spell drain for me.
Right.
That's a lot for me.
It is. Now,
but as a really saucy, because the meld into stone is 8 hours, so potentially I could creep in the night, meld into stone. We have for example, either Ramen or Lewis could. I can't remember his fucking name. Terrible. Barwolf. It's because I go to say Beowulf, and I know it's not right. Potentially, they could try and draw them out because they don't know them yet. They only know us 3, and I could be casting the spell. We could agree upon a point that I'm going to cast the spell. Drag one of them into the magic circles if he's going to barter, and we've got one cornered, and then we all just close in on one and hammer the crap out of it.
That's the other point. You've got to concentrate on one and hammer the crap out of it. Well, it's all about the tactics. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you as much information as I can, and then I'm going to butt out. So make sure you're having to think about it and get your tactics down. Rictavio and Esmeralda will do whatever you suggest, but you need Johnson hitting first with his crit. You need Jake firing off all of your cylinders against one hag in one round, and either get it to the point, and Rictavio's saying, I don't, because he's not convinced Magic Circle will work. It takes a minute to cast. It does, because you reverse it round, they can't escape. They have to pass a save to actually turn ethereal and escape. But it's the minute casting time. They know you're coming. They know you're coming for them.
How bright are they?
Very
intelligent.
I was going to say, I mean, I have the ability to alter myself. Could I turn myself into one of them? So there's 4 that could potentially cause confusion amongst them. You know, it's like, I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus. You know, they're like, well, who's telling the truth?
I think, to be honest, when I think about that, Miller, that they know who they are. Fuck Spartacus would be their response to that.
Yeah. And also, if I change myself into an inanimate object, could I still use spells? Because then they wouldn't know what was.
No, because you if you're inanimate, you wouldn't be able to. Hey look, Marty! I turned myself into a pickle. You wouldn't be able to speak.
Yeah, so the premise behind my plan was that I would be hidden in a rock, cast a magic circle, and somebody like Beowulf could talk one of them across, trying to bargain with them to the point agreed upon. And while he's bargaining, would be when I'd be casting the magic circle to trap one.
Okay, so
that was a thought process behind what I was suggesting. Right. Yes, I've only got 3 third level spell slots, and that would take up 2 of them. But if we're going to go for that one and absolutely obliterate her as fast as we can, it might be worth the sacrifice.
So it sounds like you want to try an approach with subterfuge. I mean, that's 3 of you now, if not 4 of you, that have suggested it. So that's what your approach is going to be from the off. Do you think?
My only worry
is the ethereal thing. Because we could all charge in, even if, say, we randomly get a surprise round and we all gang up on one, nearly kill her. All she's got to do is go, and everything we've just achieved is lost. At least if we've got one trapped in magic circle and we do that same tactic, we've got a chance of finishing her off come second round of hitting her.
The only difficulty is getting up to that point. 1 whole minute is a long time for them to for you to fool them. Yeah, for them to go, wait a minute, this ain't right, we're gone. I'm gonna go for a burst. Keep going.
But then the same principle applies to greater invisibility. I could still do the same thing with greater invisibility.
So I'm just throwing this out there now.
But they can detect magic, that's the only thing.
Does Kira know Rillik's dead yet?
Not yet, no, we haven't mentioned it to Kira.
So, nobody knows about that doll of Rillik that I had built either, do they?
No.
Weren't we all there?
Well, you and Andy know about it. Could you not use that to simulate, like, do the hags know Rillik's dead yet?
Yeah, they will know, won't they? Because they've come to the tower, haven't they? So they've seen Rillik's not there, and they'll have known because Rillik had a curse on him as well, didn't they?
But
and
Kira,
the curse will have been Rillik.
Could we not use that dummy to taunt Kira into the fight, as if to say, we could pretend to attack the doll in darkness, so to speak, so nobody can see in, nobody can see out, get her into the fight and make it out that it's hags.
No, but we could potentially bait Kira by saying that it was the hags that killed Rillik.
Which technically they did.
And they did. And we could also say, but he also gave you this doll.
It would potentially work.
So
they'll just get another NPC for Dave to control into the fight.
Yeah.
The other I don't know what I know Kira's now involved. The other thing that Rick Tario is going to tell you is he's going to tell you a lot of their abilities. So one of their highest level abilities is something called Eye Bite, and it's a 6th level spell. One of the hags, and you've experienced this before, their eyes turn black, and it's a concentration spell, lasts for a minute, and they're able to do different things with this spell. They can put you to sleep. They can frighten you. They can. Hold on, let me open it. So I'm reading all of it. So just unconscious, just fall asleep, panicked, so you become frightened, and then the other effect is to give you disadvantage on everything, pretty much.
Will that work on ourselves?
It will, unless they can't see you.
Well, I just because.
Or if you're protected from good and evil.
I can't be put to sleep.
Yeah, I can't.
No.
But the other charm effects you could have.
Yeah.
Miller, can you control inanimate objects?
No.
No.
Not yet.
That's the other advantage would be.
I can teleport. Up to I can teleport a person up to 30 foot away, or even further if I use a higher level slot.
Well, the other thing I haven't told you is they automatically get advantage on their saving throws against spells, but that would be handy. So you can. Which spell's that?
Vortex Warp. You magically twist space around another creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw. The target can choose to fail, or the target is teleported to an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see within range. The chosen space must be on the surface or in a liquid that can support the target without the target having to squeeze. At higher level, when you cast this spell using a slot at 3rd level or higher, the range of the spell increases by 30 foot for each slot level above 2nd.
What's your save DC?
Constitution savings 15.
Well, they'd get advantage on it, but that instantly takes them out of the coven.
Yeah.
Is there any way to give them disadvantage?
Fairy fire.
I don't think so.
Disadvantage.
Oh, is it just against the next melee attack?
Yeah, because they'd have advantage to save against fairy fire. It'd be bestow curse, but that'd be touch range, and they'd have advantage to save against bestow curse.
I've also got blight.
Yeah, again, necrotic damage, a lot of damage, very good. But they'd have a chance to save it. What Rick Tavio is going to cancel, the reason he's happy that that Reman's coming is you've got a meat shield, and you summon you summon undead.
My spirit.
Yeah. You summon that before they can see you. They can't counterspell it.
Yeah.
If they hit you, they can break your concentration. But that's 4 attacks from your zombies, assuming that you can get within melee range. 4 attacks with your zombies, and then 2 ranged with your. If you go with the skeletal one again.
Well, I can have what is it? It doesn't have to be a skeleton that I can summon.
No, so you need to read through the other options and let me know because I'll have to change the token if you.
Yeah, an undead spirit who can hover.
What else? What else can we do? I've been trying to think of this for ages.
A festering aura. Oh no, that's the what's it?
I believe. That's what I was going to say to you. Protection from good and evil. If you have that up, the hags cannot target you. They are fiends. Yeah. So protection from good and evil says that if you have it up, you cannot be targeted by a fiend.
And I can potentially.
No.
You have advantage against certain things from Fae Fiends, Celestial Undead.
Yeah, so basically, they would have disadvantage on attack rolls against you. You can't be charmed, frightened, or possessed by them, but it's a concentration spell.
Yeah.
So you'd only be able to cast it once.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be able to cast any of the concentration spells.
No. But if they couldn't see you because you were invisible.
And somebody else can also cast it on you.
Yeah.
You can cast it on self or cast it on somebody else.
How high up is the windmill, the top floor of the windmill?
It's a decent structure. I don't think I've ever told you this. You know, the chapter is called The Old Bone Grinder. If I'd have put that, because I don't know if you noticed on map tools, I didn't call it The Old Bone Grinder, I called it the Windmill.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go into The Old Bone Grinder, shall we? Right, so it is... so, bottom floor's 7, and then 10, 17, and then top one's another 10, so right to the top, 10, 20, 30, 7, 42 feet. From top to tip.
A way to separate. Yeah, just thinking if there's a way to sort of separate them. vertically. If you got all three of them on the top floor, one out a window.
The problem is they counter spell.
Counterspell's huge for them. What?
Yeah.
What? I mean, it's a nice idea, Johnson, and to go along with the theme of that. Rick, I mean, Damian would know this. Barwolf would probably know it as well, and Rictavio will tell you that they are selfish creatures. They hate each other. These three women hate each other, but they're more powerful together. If you can add that into the bargaining tool, if you can just take one down, that should be all you have to do. You've proven that you're more powerful. You're powerful enough to take them all down. Take this curse off us. Don't bother us again, type thing. It's just all about taking one. If you're targeting one and you're going hell for leather, and that one says, "Oh fuck this, I'm off," and disappears, then you've got to change and take another one down, and then same again. And then if they all turn ethereal, they can come at you in your dreams and drain you all.
The only other thing I'm just looking at is another 3rd level spell. Incite Greed.
Right.
So basically, I enchant a gem worth at least 50 gold pieces, and choose any number of creatures within range that you can see. Each target, they basically become charmed, and all they want to do is come towards this gem.
Can't condition immunities charmed. They're immortal beings, mate. They're
I'm just showing through spells, and I literally like anything like blinding or anything like that. I'm not going to be able to do, am I? So I'm just clutching at straws.
Dude, I've been there myself. In fact, I have enabled the Monsters Manual. I did it for Miller, so for his skeletons and zombies. But the Monsters Manual is on D&D Beyond at the minute. Don't look at anything else. Certainly don't look at vampires, motherfuckers. Look at night hags. Van Richten's going to give you all the information. Google it, because I've done it. And I'm still, if I'm being, I'm playing. I've got my DM hat on. They're coming at you. If you're coming for them, they're going to try and win or escape or do what they can.
So this, how do they go ethereal?
It's an action. It's an ability. It's not a spell. It's just an innate ability that not all night hags can do.
So they don't have to use an item. They don't have to.
Yes, they must have. Night hags have 3 items that they can make. One is the eye, the hag eye that we know about. One is a heart stone, which if you do actually kill them, you'll want to loot them because it's very good at getting rid of diseases. And the other one is a soul bag. To turn ethereal, the hag must have the Heartstone in her possession. I think the Heartstone normally resides in a bag anyway.
So, pull one away, get Johnson to pinch the Heartstone so she can't go ethereal and beat the shit out of her. You're silent, Jake.
If Johnson already steals the stone before the fight, then she can never go ethereal in the first place.
Yeah, but how are we going to get Johnson up that close? Because if we send him up too close, he's going to be vulnerable. He's going to be
Greater invisibility. He's got stealth. He's got the cloak of Elvenkind. He's got the best chance of stealth in it. Because I'm pretty sure even with greater invisibility, does it? How does it work with armor and things?
10 or 20, doesn't it?
So if you steal them bags, and with your sleight of hand like you did earlier, if you could do that to all of them, worst case scenario, we can stop them going ethereal. And if they want to barter for their soul bags back, we've got all their soul bags, and what do they love more than anything? Their soul bags.
Shit.
Thinking outside the box.
Yeah,
You're kiting them, aren't you? You're pulling one away. You're taking their ability to do anything by silencing them, so to speak, like you do on WoW, and then you nail all the other fuckers. If you take away what they want or what they've got, we have the upper hand then.
So you'd in terms of greater invisibility only lasts for 1 minute. Is the downside of it, but any action you take doesn't reveal you as being visible.
Yeah.
What Johnson would have, you've got advantage anyway. You can't have double advantage, but all you would have is advantage on stealth. But it would be your sleight of hand versus their perception times however many times you're doing it.
Unless we try and get them at a disadvantage with their perception. Could you not cast darkness on their head so they can't see? Or does it have to be within a 60-foot radius? Because
It kind of works like it.
Because can't you cast, like, if you were building like a sentinel, you can cast darkness on your sword, can't you, around yourself? And then you have that sphere around yourself. Could you not do that elsewhere so the hag can't see or anything, but you can see them still? I don't know.
A magical darkness suddenly appearing is instantly going to put them on the defensive.
Yeah,
I think you're onto something though, Lewis, with the stealing it.
Yeah, me too.
I think even if we got
just
them
need
outside,
one that can't.
that's what I mean. Even if we got them out the windmill and Valkyn was invisible, and then we got one bag or one stone even. That's all we need, because then we can beat up one
that can't escape.
Well, the other aspect of it is, if the others are inferior, they can't counterspell because they're on a different plane of existence.
And if we're beating one down and it can't escape, and we've got its bag with everything it wants, it's going to be more open to a bargain. There's always that option then as a backup plan, isn't there?
Yeah.
And if all goes wrong, strictly speaking, Johnson's still invisible, so could crack off a surprise round anyway.
Ooh. Yeah.
So in theory, he would still get his assassinate ability.
Could I not send a familiar to have a scout ahead and see where they're keeping all their bits and bobs to give Johnson an advantage on stealing them? I could change my raven into a spider, for instance, that could crawl over them unnoticed, and I can obviously see and hear what's going on if I'm close enough. Would that give him an advantage on stealing the stuff to make it quicker?
No, is the short answer, Miller. I'm sorry, mate. The Heartstone would be on their possession. It would be with them somewhere, and they'd probably notice your spider coming.
Would detect magic pick that up whereabouts it is on their person?
Say again, sorry.
Would detect magic pick it up where exactly it is on their person?
Yeah, it's a magic object, so you'd be able to locate it.
So locate it, nick it, beat one down.
Lustrous. It's a lustrous black gem. All it needs to be is in her possession, so she doesn't need to touch it. It's not like it's a what's it? She could hide it somewhere where only night hags can hide things.
Not a vision you want in your brain, is it?
It's not. No, but that's where
Johnson's going.
Who did they already visit? They visited Damian. Was it just Damian they visited?
And Niloren, I think Niloren, because he was praying or something, got an advantage on a save and battered it off.
That's right. Yeah, because you've still got the night haunting thing, haven't you, Jake, for Damian? So you could get, if you killed them or get a greater restoration cast on you, you could actually get hit points back.
Hit points?
Yeah, it took hit points off you. Permanent hit points. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
We all did.
So we've got, I think the next game is like in 15 days' time.
What date did we go for?
Well, we went because you're bad lads. 25th and the 26th, but it's not been confirmed yet. Jake's still saying no.
I'm sure it'll be we can do it. I'm sure I can work it. But yeah, I think that's probably the best bet, because if we can get Johnson to steal one of the, because even if you don't get to steal it, the perception might be something's touching them, but they won't necessarily know something's there, and you could still crack off your assassination on a surprise attack.
It's up there in terms of suggestions I've heard so far. Is removing their ability to escape.
The only other thing
just
is
one of them
is whether we get them into the open. They know we're coming. They want they know they want the fight. However, they've said they're going to come for me next. Morgantha told me explicitly she's coming for Damian for trying to save Theron.
So we use you as bait.
Potentially.
Would you like me to lap dance for you? No. You're welcome, Jake.
They just give me the envision of you know Legend, the hag in the swamp in Legend.
Nice.
No,
hags are nasty.
They are nasty bastards.
Right, I'm going to leave it there then. I think. Yeah, like I say, we'll keep texting. I mean, I'm quite happy to get involved in terms of ideas. If you have any, unless you want to keep it from me and keep it a surprise, then that's also fine.
Just what on Rictavio's, obviously quite happy that I've got a meat shield. What advantage do they bring to the party in reality?
It's damage that they can't cancel, so they can't counter it because they're already there.
Right.
So you're throwing 4 zombies, so that's potentially, I mean, if they hit, that's 1d6 plus whatever damage. And then your ranged lad, if you cast it, if it's just one attack, it's 2d4 plus whatever every single turn.
Right. I was just wondering. I mean, it's obviously a conversation I potentially have to have with the group about maybe bringing more to the party.
Yeah, but it's more. It was more to reinforce the fact that he's quite happy that you're a necromancer. The others weren't. I mean, Damian wasn't happy that you were a necromancer. He's not fussed. He's not bothered.
Yeah, no. But I was wondering, what are they gonna do if they're so powerful? Are they just gonna? Is it just something that actions that they've got to deal with? That if they're too close, they're gonna have to deal with the zombies and waste an action on them as opposed to us.
Possibly
buying us time, sort of thing.
Yeah. Right, let's knock this off then.